Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Andrew Yang and a hugely powerful opportunity he has in the December 19th Los Angeles PBS NewsHour Politico debate number 6, which is tomorrow night, right? Like, it is coming up. I will be there sitting right next to you in spirit, and as soon as that debate's over, I'm going to be getting my coverage up as quickly as possible, which is usually about within an hour or two. I actually, of course, kind of write a script and I take my notes together and I kind of put together a summary of what happened in each debate. You can find my coverage for every single debate right here on this channel, but that's going to be here, okay? And I'm very excited about the debate tomorrow night. I hope you're excited. I'm wishing you the very best. And just, have a great pre-debate day today. I'm super excited. All right. Okay, so everybody here is a YouTube veteran, and you all know, you've all encountered videos that have spoiler warnings, right? Well, there's no spoilers in this video, but I am going to give a faith warning. All right. So today, we're going to talk about Andrew Yang. We're going to talk about debate number 6. We're going to talk about Jesus Christ. We're going to talk about evangelical Christians. We're going to talk about faith in politics, and we're going to really dig into it. We're going into the deep end of the pool tonight, right? So the reason why I'm giving this warning, right, is I have incredibly kind and wonderful subscribers. And sometimes when people jump into the comments, they'll be like, I'm a communist. I'm faithless. I don't worship any God. And people will tell me, right, hey, I know you're an evangelical Christian, but I ain't down with that, right? Now, today, essentially, I'm going to be taught, I'm an evangelical Christian, right? I'm going to be in heaven for all of eternity, right? And people who have not gone down that road, there's a distinct possibility, and I think it's a certainty, but that's my opinion, and that is my faith opinion, that they are going to be in a very hot place for a long time. Oh, actually, they're going to be in a very hot, dark, uncomfortable place forever, right? So, this is essentially like a trigger warning, right? So if you feel like if you are not down with Christianity and you don't want to hear somebody say that people who aren't evangelical Christians are not going to be in God with heaven forever, this ain't the video for you. And I'm just giving a fair warning here, right? I don't want to hit people upside the head with a faith message if they're not expecting it, or if it would be upsetting to them. And I can very much understand why, thinking about the idea that when you leave this mortal coil, that all of eternity is going to really not be good for you. I can understand where that would be a super dark message, right? Now, if you are in that zone and you have a heart, and you have a tough demeanor, I would encourage you to stick around. The reason why is, if you ain't been paying attention, evangelical Christians are the absolute turnkey solution to winning this election. So evangelical Christians are super important politically, right? And we're gonna talk about it, right? But I did want to give that warning here. I do understand trigger warnings, what they are. You don't want to upset people without giving them a chance to jump off board if they really want to. So you've been warned. Here we go. All right. So tonight I went to a very wonderful concert that I very much enjoyed. It was Keith and Kristen Getty. And they did a concert called Sing, an Irish Christmas. And it was at the Grand Opera House in Wilmington, Delaware. And it was really wonderful, and I really had a fantastic time. I really very much enjoyed it, right? But as I was sitting there watching people enjoying Sing, an Irish Christmas, I couldn't help but notice that, as I looked around, I was like, oh my gosh, there is not a lot of diversity in this room, right? And I was like, that's a real problem. Now, maybe it's not a huge problem because, Irish Christmas, they were kind of self-selecting their audience there, a little bit, right? So I kind of get that, right? But one of the things I was thinking is, I was like, these people in this room are actually who's going to decide this election, right? And the reason why is there's a lot of groups right now who are like, hey, you can't take my little attribute group for granted. We may not vote Democrat, right? And then and then there's this little bar, this little narrow bar, and we're a specific group of voters and you cannot ignore us, right? And I'm kind of like, I don't know, man, can't we ignore you? And the reason why is these groups, right? They're kind of sending messages that they're not going to vote Democrat, right? But are they not? right? Like, where are they going to go, right? Like, so there are groups who have traditionally voted lockstep with the Democrats, like at rates of like 95%, right? And the thing is, like, Democrats are now making all these ridiculous, silly noises, like, we better make sure that we lock these groups in and do everything we can to get them there to the polls. I'm like, you can't do nothing, right? Like, Trump has terrified these people, right? If there's a person in the world who understands that if you don't vote, you get Trump again, right? There's nothing a Democrat can do to encourage them to come out. Like, Trump has already done it, right? There's no better rallier for the Democrat base than Trump, right? And these tiny little groups are like, you better pay attention to us or we might not vote Democrat. What? Like, you want to vote Trump? Come on, like, don't even play, right? You're going to be there, right? And the Democrats really can't do anything else to get them there, right? It's done, period, finished, right? Those groups, they make a bunch of notions, right? But they're going to be at those polls and they're going to vote Democrat because they ain't got no other choice in the world, right? Like, so it's kind of ridiculous, right? But evangelicals, that ain't the case, right? And that is the beauty of Andrew Yang, and we're going to talk about it today, all right? All right. So I go see Keith and Christian Getty, right? Now, who is Keith Getty, right? Well, he wrote one of the most famous hymns, modern hymns, that's ever been done. I'm going to hit you with one stanza bar from his famous song. I think he wrote it in like 2004, and it's called "In Christ Alone." Here you go. In Christ alone, my hope is found. He is my light, my strength, my song, this cornerstone, this solid ground, firm from the fiercest drought and storm, with heights of love, with depths of peace, when fears are stilled, when striving cease, my comforter, my all in all, here is the love of Christ I stand. All right, so the guy I saw in concert tonight, he wrote that, right? And I'll tell you right now, I've sung that song at least 100, maybe 200 times, right? And the reason why is, I'll tell you right now, any given Sunday, you throw a rock, you spin around and throw a rock into an evangelical Christian church, you're going to hit somebody who just sang that song, right? It is sung in 100 to 1,000 evangelical Christian churches every single Sunday, and it's been sung since the day it was written. It is a powerful Christian jam, right? And he did a great job with it. Him and his wife sang it together, and there was a whole bunch of people jamming to it. All evangelical Christians, right? And actually, they're not all evangelicals. There's probably some Catholics in the group, right? And a few others, right? But the reality, there was a lot of evangelical Christians in that room, right? And the reality is, these people are the real key to this election, right? And we're going to talk about why. Okay, so as I was sitting there, I realized, okay, I get it, right? If evangelical Christians are the key to this election. Now, actually, let me prove that to you. I don't want you to take that for granted. Why am I saying that evangelical Christians are the actual key to this election? Well, again, those little attribute voters, right, who are like, oh, I'm XYZ attribute, you better pay attention to me or I might not vote Democrat. Bull crap. You're going to be there. I know you're going to be there, right? Like, Yang can't do nothing. Biden can't do, nobody can get you there if Trump didn't get you there. He has terrified the world, right? Like, he has terrified the liberal world. There ain't no liberals left who need to be convinced to show up, right? It's ridiculous, right? But evangelicals can be carved off of Trump's base. And here's why. Trump is a man who pretends to be evangelical Christian, to be an evangelical Christian, but rejects every evangelical Christian value. He rejects fidelity, right? What does fidelity mean for Trump? It means $130,000 payment. That's what it means, right? Let's talk about the next evangelical Christian value that he has rejected. Honesty, right? He hard rejects honesty. Trump wears on his belt a dishonesty tool, and he whips that thing out and uses it constantly, right? And I'm not saying, oh, hey, I think Trump lies. He told us he lied in his book, The Art of War, right? He straight up goes, whenever I need to get anything done and somebody stand in my way, I just lie to him. It's written right in his book. It was written before he got elected, and the second he showed up, he was like, remember how I told you I'm a liar? Bing! I just lied, right? Like, this ain't like, there's not a question of if Trump is a liar. He wrote it in his book, Art of War. It's right there in print, He lies all the time. He doesn't even lie about lying, right? Like, it's big, right? And guess what? Evangelical Christians ain't cool with that, right? Like, there's a commandment against that, right? Like that ain't cool. You cannot break that, right? It's a big deal, right? Now, the reality is you can break that, but you have to have the blood of Christ to pay for it. It's the whole thing. I'll get it. Yeah. All right. Here's the last one. Selflessness, right? Jesus Christ was like, you need to be selfless, right? What does selflessness mean to Donald Trump? He's like, selflessness? Did you say emoluments? You don't even understand what the word is, right? And every day he's projecting to the world that he's an evangelical Christian. And evangelical Christians are like, what the higgity heck? You know, right now, evangelical Christianity is being attached to $130,000 payments, dishonesty, and emoluments. And these same evangelical Christians that voted for him in 2016 are like, holy crap, he is shredding our name, right? Like, evangelical Christianity is starting to lose all tact. Like, we can't allow this to happen. We've got to stop this, right? And so a lot of evangelicals are primed to not vote for Trump. So what do they need, right? They need a person who actually lives the values of evangelical Christians, right? And the reason why is there are no evangelical Christians running. None, right? Nobody even claims to be an evangelical Christian, right? On the Dem side, okay? All right. Now, who is a man who lives evangelical Christianity? Who's a person who lives the evangelical Christian values? Guess what? Andrew Yang. Fidelity is important to him. He lives it. Honesty is important to him. He doesn't spout lies constantly. Selflessness is important to him. That's why he started his benevolence company. That's why it was a third of his entire career, right? Venture for America. He is selfless, right? So evangelical Christians right now are posed to vote for a pretender, an evangelical Christian pretender who is hard rejecting every value they believe in, right? Or a person who literally is not claiming to be even evangelical Christian and living every value they believe in. That's pretty easy, right? Like, Yang is uniquely positioned to steal evangelical Christian votes, right? And guess what? I'll tell you right now, Trump ain't going to be stealing any of these, like, attribute voters who are like, you better pay attention to us or we might swing over to Trump. They ain't voting for Trump. Come on, like, let's stop pretending, right? Those voter groups are not movable, right? But evangelical Christians are. This is real. And I'm living proof, right? I'm an evangelical Christian. I changed my registration from Republican to Democrat, all right? Now, what is this huge opportunity that Andrew Yang has? Well, tomorrow night, he can, with 3 words, define himself as a comforter. He could define himself as the only real option, right? He could define himself as conqueror, not comforter, not competitor, conqueror. All right, so let's talk about that. Right now, with 7 candidates, there are really only 3 types of people running right now. There are only going to be 3 types of people tomorrow on that debate stage. Excuse me. Let's talk about them. Comforters. There are 5 comforters, right? So the biggest comforter of all is Pete Buttigieg. He is there to whisper sweet nothings to every $5 coffee drinker liberal in America, right? He's what every coastal elite wants to hear. He has nothing but liberal playbook lines, right? Everything he says is incredibly comfortable for Democrats and absolutely antithesis of every Trump voter. Buttigieg couldn't win a Trump voter if he put a MAGA hat on and and wore a Trump wig, right? Like, it's just he can't win a single one, right? He's just there to comfort $5 coffee liberals, right? That's it. That's all there is. That's all he is. He's just a comforter, right? He's there to comfort them for 11 months more and say a lot of lines that they like to hear and then lose, right? Tom Steyer. He ain't there to comfort any liberals. He's there to comfort himself. He understands that he spent decades building the coal industry in America, funding them and making sure they had everything they needed to push forward coal in America, and he did the same for for-profit prisons. And he can't sleep at night, and that's why he's running. He's there to comfort himself. He's late in life. He sees that he definitely went down the wrong path, right? And he's trying to comfort himself with some attempts to maybe do something good with the last few years of his life. But guess what? Presidency ain't about you, Tom Steyer. This ain't your own personal redemption narrative, right? We're not here to comfort you, right? We actually need to run this country. And we don't need a coal king, for-profit prison promoter to do it, right? All right, let's talk about Biden. Oh man, right? Like, who's he comforting? Everybody who misses Obama, right? Like, I miss Obama. I would love to have the Obama days back. Biden ain't the way to get it, right? You don't elect a 77-year-old person to do a job that was challenging for somebody a decade or more younger than them who really isn't the same person, right? Electing Biden doesn't give us those Obama years back. It's a comforting thought, but it's not real, okay? Biden, who's he here to comfort? He's not here to comfort any Americans. He's here to comfort Chinese, USSR, Russia, and Venezuelan socialists, right? Like he's here to comfort every other socialist in every other nation who's like, yeah, we can get power in America. We just need Bernie to win, right? And then socialism spreads from China and Russia and Venezuela straight to America. That's comforting for them. It's not comforting for us, right? And then Elizabeth Warren, right? Who she is a lighter version of Pete Buttigieg. She's like, oh, all you super liberals, right? I know you don't like billionaires. I'm gonna drag the rich to the poor. How comforting is that, right? And there's a ton of Democrats who find that very comforting. I don't, right? She's a comforter, right? Now there's two other types, right? There's a competitor. We got one competitor in the race. One, right? Amy Klobuchar. She's genuine, true heartland stalwart, and I'd say she genuinely has about a 10% chance of beating Trump. She's in it to win it. She's not there to comfort anybody. She's a true competitor, okay? And then there's Andrew Yang. All right, Andrew Yang is not a regular politician. He is somebody who came out of the darkness. Like, he just strided in from the dark night hours into the sun. I truly believe he is a once in 10 generation leader. He is truly unique and special, and he is here to conquer, right? To conquer Republican reign, right? He's not a comforter, he's not a competitor, he's a conqueror, and he is here to wreck Trump. Now, how do you get that done, right? All right, I'm going to tell it to you right now. 3 words. He uses it at the end tomorrow night. This is how he closes, right? This locks it, right? This changes the conversation and makes sure he walks off that stage, not a winner, but a conqueror of everybody on that stage, and a conqueror, future-wise, of Trump. So how does Yang end tomorrow night's debate? He says the following: thank you very much, America. He says, thank you very much. Merry Christmas, America. Merry Christmas, America. Merry Christmas, America. Bang. Shut it down, right? This is how you end a debate. This is how you take it politically to Donald Trump. This will politically roundhouse kick him in his political teeth, right? And the reason why is, I guarantee you, Andrew Yang ends tomorrow night's debate with those 3 words: Merry Christmas, America. That shuts it down. It's over, right? And here's how, right? He says, I ain't here to comfort these liberals. I ain't here to comfort the Democrats. I am here to conquer a conservative king. I'm here to break him, right? And this is how it gets done, right? With words that mean something. They will echo in the minds of every evangelical Christian. And guess what? They will terrify the Democrats. And here's why. Because they're going to know he is there for real. For real. Right? Because it's risky. It is huge risk. Right? But here's the thing. All right? When you say Merry Christmas, America, you adhere the goodwill of Christmas to you. Not evangelical Christianity, right? I'm talking 1978 when me and my 6-year-old brother got a Death Star and a Dewback and an X-Wing, right? That is Christmas goodwill, right? That is Merry Christmas. And there are hundreds of millions of Americans. Some of them are evangelical Christians, right? Now, we have our own spiritual Christmas. The whole gift thing isn't that big a deal to us. But we also have that Merry Christmas, what every non-Christian actually has as well. These huge, what every Christian, not evangelical Christian, but Christian, right? Air quotes there. That's their Christmas, right? And everybody has, not everybody. Many, 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 many Americans, hundreds of millions of Americans have these incredibly good, like incredibly just wash over memories of that, right? And he takes all that goodwill. I will never forget 1978 Christmas when my parents, who had just come into money, just showered me and my brother with Star Wars Christmas gifts, right? Me and my brother talked about that to this day. I'm 49. That was 41 years ago. It's imprinted on my brain, right? And hundreds of millions of Americans have those memories. And Andrew Yang can just adhere that goodwill to himself. All that's my opinion. What do you think? Should he say Merry Christmas, America at the end tomorrow? I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.